mentioned that the IEA chief basically said the shit is hitting the fan, everything's falling apart, and he just published Lockdowns 2.0, an energy lockdown playbook. They released a 10-point plan over the weekend telling governments to restrict driving, ground flights, force remote work, and ban gas cooking. They called it sheltering from oil shocks, writes Aaron Day. Here's the plan. Number one, they are recommending alternating driving days based on your license plate number, odd plates on Monday, even plates on Tuesday, and countries are now already implementing this. They are recommending mandatory speed limit reductions on every highway, not for safety, but fuel rationing by another name. You can still drive, just slower and less often. Number three, avoiding all air travel where alternatives exist. They didn't define what that actually meant, but the ambiguity, writes Aaron Day, is the feature. It lets regulators decide after the fact whether your trip was essential or not. Non-essential versus essential. Does that ring any bells? Here's another one. Switch from gas cooking to electric. The IEA is now telling you what appliances you can use in your kitchen. And the same agency that published net zero by 2050 is calling now for thermostats to be capped at 19 degrees and a ban on new gas boilers. This is not new, it's accelerating. And then work from home if possible. The guidelines mimic 2020 when they locked down the world and called it public health. In 2026, they're locking down movement and calling it energy security. The template is identical, writes Aaron.
Second phase of Project 2025.
The second phase after the book came was to break down like actual sort of policy packets and like executive orders and agenda items, things like that. That's been supervised largely by us.
The first phase of Project 2025 was a 922-page policy book published openly. The second phase is a comprehensive, concrete transition plan for each federal agency. These much more detailed plans are confidential.
Yeah. Because obviously you want as little of it to be FOIA-able, if you're familiar with the FOIA process, as possible.
Freedom of Information Act, yeah.
The Freedom of Information Act allows the public to request government communications. But Meadowcroft reveals they plan to avoid these rules.
Yeah, the goal is, familiarize all the transition team people with these plans, but you don't actually send them to their work emails, because then,
right.
You could just give the handbooks to everyone, be like, this is the game plan for the admin.
Yeah.
But if the press knows that that's what you're doing, that they're going to immediately just say, I request all of your emails from Heritage.
Okay.
You
right.
Worker.
I see.
So we'll see.
Interesting.
Meadowcroft offers to set up a meeting with his boss, Russ Vogt.
You could put me in touch with somebody who looks after his diary or whatever.
Yes, I can put you in touch with his schedule. Yeah.
Amazing.
So, yeah.
Great.
So just tell me when to do that.
We want to meet the man writing the game plan for Trump's second administration. Vogt believes that in his first term, Trump's agenda was frustrated by what he calls the deep state. So Vogt is planning a radical centralization of government power under the president, firing civil servants and ending the independence of agencies like the FBI and DOJ.
80% of my time is working on the plans of what's necessary to take control of these bureaucracies. And we are working doggedly on that, whether it's destroying their agency's notion of independence, that are independent from the president.
Vogt has also been preparing documents based on fringe legal theories, arguing the president has the power to use the military against protesters.
George Floyd obviously was not about race. It was about destabilizing the Trump administration. Right. We put out, for instance, a 50-page paper designed for lawyers to know that the president has, the ability both along the border and elsewhere to maintain law and order with the military. And that's something that, it's going to be important for him to remember and his lawyers to affirm. But we've given them the case for that.
With loyalists installed in key government agencies and armed with his playbook, Vogt believes a radical Christian nationalist agenda can be realized under a second Trump presidency. For example, on abortion.
So I think the president's actually come up with a strategy that works so long as you are giving people like me in the government the ability to block funding for Planned Parenthood, block funding for fetal tissue research. But what I've told people is he had the most pro-life record ever. I've never seen him to stand in the way of a pro-life initiative that actually was real, politically and with momentum.
And for Vogt, Trump's pick for vice president shows he's serious about pushing this ideological agenda when in power.
So I am very happy with the JD pick. I think it's transformative for sure.
Greetings from Europe. We have reports coming in from high-level talks all the time, and the message is always the same. No influential person over here trusts the United States of America, not a singular one. And it's not because of Trump, but it's what Trump has revealed. And that is that the U.S. does not have any checks and balances. The next time, even if Trump is gone, one day, when they have their next pedo Hitler, they can just do whatever they want. No one will control them. The Congress won't control them, the business world, the courts, the academia. Like, no one will do anything. The people won't sufficiently rise up. So America is a hotel room. And Trump is a black light. And if you use a black light in a hotel room, you see what's really being going on there. And then you feel different about the hotel room. So there's been 80 years of goodwill that Europe has extended towards USA, and some of it has been extended back. But no more. Like, from now on, our dealings with the States, all the agreements have to be real strict. And whenever we make a deal, we immediately have to think about how we enforce it. And maybe we get away from the petrodollar. There might be a new world currency, because a country without checks and balances is not stable. The United States is not stable. They don't have a functioning country.
What's your next prediction?
Israel will achieve the Greater Israel Project.
So you think Israel are going to conquer the Middle East?
Israel has essentially already conquered the Middle East. The only force in their way right now is America. So once America leaves the Middle East, which I expect to happen, then Israel will absorb CENTCOM, which is the Central Command, the American military bases in the Middle East, and they will achieve the Greater Israel Project. There's no other power in the Middle East that can withstand the might and power of Israel.
And do you have a timeline for this?
The moment America quits this war against Iran, the moment that America leaves the Middle East, Israel will achieve the Greater Israel Project. And what's really interesting right now is that Israel is trying to drag this war out for as long as possible because they see this war as a way to destroy all its major enemies in the Middle East. You know, the Israelis have already said this. After Iran, Turkey is next. Turkey is next. This war is already destroying Saudi Arabia and the GCC, right? So the last opponent is Turkey. Once Turkey is brought into this war, then Israel will achieve the Greater Israel Project.
And the Greater Israel Project covers all of this region here, from Turkey, Egypt, Yemen, Oman.
So the Greater Israel Project is like this, okay? So it goes from the Nile in Egypt to the Euphrates in Iraq. And it covers part of Turkey, all of Syria, all of Lebanon, all of Jordan, and parts of Saudi Arabia, which also includes Mecca and Medina.